Oh shit. Here we go again.
Like, I've been trying to like see my grandparents as humans other than just my grandparents, and I've actually
Yeah.
really enjoyed that here recently. Like, my grandmother on my mom's side just beat breast cancer, and I've been trying to see her as a
That's huge.
person other than just like my nana who has breast cancer.
Yeah. From an outside perspective,
Correct.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of. I think there's also too. We grew up in a weird time period where it's like now more so the generation behind us is more open and willing and like more so communicative, but the generation before us was more so hard nosed and like keep it, just work through it. And we're like right in the middle. And sometimes I feel like we get lost in like, is this something I speak on about, or is it something I work through? And there's it's like a pre-built thing, for our generation of men, which I think is like we're like the forgotten generation. You know what I'm saying? These 90s kids, we're forgotten about in a lot of the things because everybody's so worried about, the past 2000 babies. And then the old generation is, bitching about that same generation. And it's just like, we're lost in the mix, especially
kind of lost in translation.
with the Raiders.
I don't know any.
I don't know any either. I was thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are yet again. We meet again. It is I, JD Kozat. I'm here with my lads. Good gracious. But we have a new lad joining us. I'm here with Cody Murphy and guest Blake Hardison. A little bonus episode for the people. I know that we dropped one the other day, but today we're going to dive a little deeper into some of the things about Blake being a listener of our podcast, a big supporter for us, somebody that, has been in our corner since we started this. Good friend of ours. Blake, appreciate you coming on, brother.
Hey, I'm glad that I can finally get on. I've only been asking since day one, but
it's been an absolute work in progress trying to bring, we've had like 3 people on now. A lot of it being mostly timely to, circumstances, situations, what's going on in the news and stuff. But I think that's all the more reason to get you on now, especially look at you, Raider decked out.
Bro, I had to. Like, I'm showing up for the occasion. I'm here for the press conference. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I respect it a lot, and I appreciate it. You're showing effort. This means something to you, so we appreciate it. I know we've been talking about it now for a couple of days and putting things together. Blake, give us a little background on you, man. What's up? What you been into? What you been doing?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, guys.
Yes,
probably two of my favorite people to sit down and have a conversation with. Murph, I know we've hung out a few times, just me and you. We always have a good conversation. And JD, I mean, like a brother, man. So, and it's been a long time since I've seen you. I got to see Murph recently. Never enough, but more recently than you.
Yeah.
But good to
I ain't
see
been
you,
out
boys.
west in a while. I'm moving. I gotta move. I gotta come out and see you guys.
Facts.
It's been too long, 100%. But I say we jump into it. I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no,
man,
you're all good.
I want to hear your takes because I know me and you were chit chatting before we got into this.
Yeah.
Murph just hopped in here, but I want to dive into the recent news that happened today. Kingsbury is now your offensive coordinator.
Indeed.
Raiders gonna have a complete turnaround. You guys gonna be able to compete in that division or what?
Man, we're gonna be able to compete, but like the real biggest change that we need, like we've made all the necessary changes that we needed to, but the biggest thing that we're gonna need is we're gonna need a playmaking quarterback. We have way too many offensive weapons, and I mean, for the first time ever under AP, our defense was ranked 6th. So we'd be winning more games if we had a playmaking quarterback. But if we don't make a change, it'll be the same thing no matter what.
What's the draft situation like for the Raiders? Like, do they have a first round pick?
We have the 13th pick.
who are you gonna? You think you could draft a quarterback there, or you think all the guys worth a first round pick will be off the board?
I mean,
Because
go ahead.
Atlanta has the number 8 pick, and they're talking about trading that for, trying to trade up or trade for Justin Fields. So I didn't know what the draft situation was like in Las Vegas. But that for sure, definitely, I don't think Aiden O'Connell is the answer. I think you got to try to draft somebody or trade or, like I said the other day, Baker Mayfield would be an excellent fit, I think, in Las Vegas.
Oh, he'd be a dog there too.
He would definitely be an upgrade.
Yeah.
He would definitely be an upgrade, and that's really like, at the end of the day, it's really all we can like kind of want. I mean,
Yeah.
Usually we just have to really just kind of compete with the Chiefs, to be honest.
Yeah.
The Chargers are
Right.
going to be something different this year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Right. Well, and Denver's in that that division as well.
correct. But
Chargers
I mean,
too now.
It's gonna be a tough division, man.
we've beat
Yeah.
Denver like the last 15 times that we played them, so
Yeah.
I'm not really worried
Yeah.
about them. But I mean, in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, man. I mean, and you know who the
Yeah.
last team to beat the Chiefs was?
Yeah.
The Raiders.
It was
On
the
Christmas
Raiders.
Day.
You got a fair
I mean,
point.
you got to give them credit there.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
and we scored 0 offensive touchdowns.
Yeah, I know. That's
That's
huge.
crazy.
I do think it helps that, and me and Murph have been huge on AP being the coach. Like that
Yeah.
was the decision for
Yes,
the Raiders.
absolutely.
It was the right decision to keep AP because he is he defines Raider culture, and those guys believe in what he is. So I think them hearing this news and then getting all offseason to work with him is going to be huge. And I think the front office has the money, right? Because they've always chased down the big name head coaches rather than staying in house. So now instead of going out and getting a coach, they could, pursue a Justin Fields. They could pursue moving up in the draft. And they've got talented players that they could, trade away.
Mm-hmm.
Say Devontae Adams doesn't want to stay. You still have Jacoby Myers there, who is a number 1 receiving threat.
Who is getting
Yeah.
older, though? Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have the pieces.
I mean,
Definitely.
Josh Jacobs is a top 5 back in the league. I don't
Yep.
care what anybody says.
Oh no, that's an
Man is
absolute fact.
Yeah, he's a dog. So I think and then you also have Devontae Adams and Max Crosby. I think is the heart and soul of this Raiders team. Though I think you kind of got to build around him. I think that's the direction that they're going to move because AP is a defensive guy. He's gonna have his team tooled and geared more towards a defensive type atmosphere. So I think honestly, with Kingsbury coming over as offensive coordinator, are they thinking about trading for Kyler? Maybe is that a possibility? Because that they're boys. He drafted him in Arizona.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that could be something that. I mean, he ran a really good offense with.
Oh,
Right.
Kyler.
Think about Kyler Murray and Devontae Adams. Like, I mean, that's a sick tandem. And then, like I said, Josh Jacobs. So the potential is definitely there. I honestly, I've always liked the Raiders, swag. Because they're just like the misfits of the league, it feels like. Just even since like going back to the 70s and 80s. And it's like I've always respected just the culture of it all. So, man, I think there's a lot of potential there. I think hiring the coach, bringing on the offensive coordinator, definitely steps in the right direction.
Yeah. AP was my number 1 choice. Like, don't get me wrong, Harbaugh is a great candidate. But when you have a guy like AP having the locker room like it was after we had the clown Josh McDaniels, like he decimated that team just like he did in Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, decimated that team. We went to the playoffs, and it would team before with a interim coach, Derek Carr running the offense. No Devontae Adams at that time.
True.
Like we were
no Jacoby Myers either.
Right. We had the offense. Our defense was dog trash. But I mean, after he decimated that, and I mean, how quickly AP brought that locker room together. I mean, they was dogs, bro.
Yeah.
After after each win, I'd watch the little locker room talk that he'd have with the boys, and I mean, he's literally like, like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
like
His
those
heart's
guys
in
would
it.
run
Yeah.
through a wall for that man.
Yeah.
You know,
It reminds me.
Go
It
ahead.
reminds me a lot of what Dan Campbell's been able to create in Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, former player. You
Mhm.
know, young coach, especially head coach. No real experience, and you know, it kind of is a parallel to what's happening with AP. AP's proved that he can win games in this league, even whenever he doesn't have, you know, a playmaking quarterback. So every sign, you know, was saying go was a green flag for AP. So
Mhm.
good on the Raiders organization. I'm glad they're finally making the right decision because I thought they should have hired Bisaccia after
Oh,
what he did.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
The inexperience, I'm
let,
sorry, JD. The
no, you're
inexperience
good.
that AP has in coaching. I mean, he brought in Marvin Lewis. Like he's bringing in Marvin Lewis. He's bringing
Yeah.
in Tom McLaughlin, the guy that coached
Yeah.
him to get the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know, like he's bringing in all this experience. Like we're gonna have
Yep.
everything we need, but it's just gonna come solely on to building up the D line, kind of like what you were saying, going around Max Crosby and getting a playmaking quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
What's the owner's name there? What's his name? Something
Mark
Davis.
Davis,
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis.
Bowl
Yeah.
Cut
That dude's got.
Davis.
Yeah. He's got the money. I think. You know, you mentioned Marvin Lewis is the name that gets forgotten. The guy that ran that Bengals franchise and they were in the playoffs. You know, every year. Granted, they had their playoff struggles, but they were a winning organization. I think that's a big piece for AP to bring in. You know, I was gonna ask. I was like, what would you do if you were Mark Davis, you were the GM, you were the owner? It's like what's your next move here? What you just solely aiming on taking somebody at the draft, or are you going to trade that pick?
So it really comes into there's two free agents that you could sign that
Yeah.
would be an upgrade. Kirk Cousins or like you were saying, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You could trade and get Justin Fields, which
Yeah.
is I saw a mock trade where it was a 3rd round pick for this year and I think a 1st round future pick. None of the
Yeah.
picks that you're going to get at those are going to be more established and better than Justin Fields.
Yeah.
So
True.
full send. But if
I
you
would
know,
full send on that too.
yeah, if that's not the case, then you trade up to get. I mean, you don't go and get Caleb. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just kind of out of the question. At least as a Raiders fan, for me, it's not what I want. But you
Yeah.
go for a Jaden Daniels. You know, just trade up. You know, kind of like you were saying, Murph, with the Falcons. You know, trade up and get
Yeah.
8 or something. You know.
Yeah. I think Jaden Daniels, not to get off topic, but I think he's going to be the best quarterback out of this
Yeah.
draft.
Oh, agreed.
I would almost put money on it because he's like Lamar 2.0, but with a better arm, you know, and the scrambling ability. So I think, you know, just sidebar here, I think anybody who gets Jaden Daniels, he's like the future of the league almost, like
Yeah.
in
I
terms
think
of
he's
play
got a
style.
chance.
But yeah, I mean, I feel what you're saying. The only thing is, I think Fields will be in Atlanta because I think we're going to trade that number 8 pick for Fields. So
I mean, a 1st round 8 pick, man, you better get something else other than Fields. That's a
well,
steep ass
we
to
might
climb.
get you know another pick. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll probably bundle
But I
a
mean,
pick
that's
in
just
there.
that's definitely a steep
Yeah.
asking
There'll
price.
be a lot of chatter, and I guarantee the Raiders and the Falcons will be in it. Now, let me ask you this: there's another man on the market. Would you entertain the idea of Russell Wilson in the silver and black?
Man, so I'll say this: I've definitely had this discussion with myself because I talk
Yeah.
to myself for sure.
Yeah, everybody does.
I mean, we all do.
Right. The same thing that I said earlier. It would be an upgrade.
Yeah.
You know, Aiden O'Connell needs a few years behind somebody. He's got the arm. He's got a cannon,
Yeah.
bro. But he
Yeah.
just needs somebody to mentor him a little bit. And I mean, can that be Cliff Kingsbury? Who knows? You know,
We'll see.
but I think, I mean, with the way that we're at it now, you know, we're treading in such like a right direction that I think we need that
Yeah.
playmaking quarterback. now.
Yeah.
Now, once
Definitely,
again,
especially in the conference that you guys are in.
hmm
He's
Russell
Harbaugh going to
Wilson.
the Chargers.
Yep.
You know, I
Dude,
think the
the
Broncos will be in.
AFC,
Yeah.
the AFC is loaded next year, bro.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
But you also seen this year of all years, you know, like you can be that wild card team. You don't gotta win the division, or you can even win
or
the
you,
division late.
well, and you also have to have Patrick Mahomes. That's a big
Well, I mean,
factor.
look at the Bills, bro. They were 6-6.
True, and look at Houston, Cleveland.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
let's talk about
You can make some
Houston.
noise.
All right, let's
Yeah.
talk Houston.
Houston's nice, bro. Like,
They-
Cowboy, baby.
man,
Yeah.
I just love football, bro. I'll admit I was a late
Yeah.
guy to football.
Yeah.
You know, I mean the reason I'm a Raiders fan is because I'm an old '90s hip hop fan, and my pops raised me on NWA.
Yeah.
So like
Oh,
literally
yeah.
the only reason I'm a Raiders fan. But like I was late to
that
football,
old Razor lifestyle.
man, and now we got AP, bro. Like,
Yeah.
man, but I just like watching football, bro. So like watching
Yeah.
the Texans is nice. Like CJ
Yeah.
Stroud is
Yeah.
him.
They were a
Yeah.
fun team to watch, man.
Yeah.
They really were.
Especially down the stretch there. Ooh,
Yeah,
man. Every
because
game.
they reminded me a lot of kind of the way the Chiefs play, but obviously not at the same level. Kind of like they can win the close one, but they can also put up 40,
Mhm.
like, so I think Stroud definitely has a nice future ahead of him.
Yeah.
That division is probably him and Trevor Lawrence. I'm taking Stroud all day over Trevor
All day,
Lawrence.
every day.
And that's nothing
Yeah.
against Trevor Lawrence.
I just don't think Trevor Lawrence is that good, man. I think he's just hyped up because he was
mediocre at
really good in college.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
He's still riding off the college clout. But what I was going to say about Stroud, the only thing about next year is, a lot of rookies that have phenomenal years, especially at the quarterback position, then kind of have a sophomore slump. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting next year to see if there's any regression, which I'm sure there will be a little bit because there's a whole year's worth of film.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that he has the weapons around him, receiver. He's got Nico Collins and Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz tight end.
Number one.
The running back, who's the running back? Singletary,
and they've got Damian Pierce.
right? It's just can they stay healthy? And D'Amico Ryans, he's going to have that defense looked amazing.
That's another Dan Campbell player coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're seeing an absolute kind of revolution at the coaching aspect of it. I think a lot of these former players are finally getting, their opportunity because guys are not they're willing to follow them because they know they've walked in their footsteps before, so they know what it's like. And so I think the key is you have to have good coordinators around them, though.
Yes.
That is the key, is how do you surround yourself with people who think a little bit differently than you, That's the key. I mean, look at going back to Dan Campbell in Detroit, look at what they did there with Ben Johnson. And then he's even coming back for another year. So it's going to be wild, when every team is coached by a former player.
Oh yeah. And I love that we're getting into that era, especially being a coach myself that plays the sport as well. Like a lot of people call them like your rah coaches. I mean, like Dan Campbell is definitely a rah coach. AP is definitely like, and those kind of coaches were always looked down upon, and I never understood why. Like, are you upset? Like these coaches have passion for their players in the game. Like, is it bad that we're showing passion?
Yeah, I think. I agree with you there. I mean, it's passion is not a bad thing at any point, but like I think on the flip side of that, you kind of got to think like organizationally. Yeah, these are rah guys. We want our players to buy into the system and everything, but also like what's best for the organization. We can't just go on pure emotion alone.
Yeah,
and I think that's where you got to have a strong GM and ownership to kind of bounce back against that. That way you can have some type of balance there, and we're not just making emotional decisions all the time because in the game of sport, I mean, I know both y'all are athletes. You both know you don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low. You want to be even kill always, So I think good organizations, they find a way to do that. I think New England obviously found a way to do that, and then, Kansas City is a good organization. So
one thing we didn't talk about is we hired a new GM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Telesco, baby.
From
Telesco.
LA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he got
Okay.
fired
That's a
after
big
he
pickup.
dropped 62 on him, but I mean, he
Yeah.
drafted players like Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa,
Yeah.
Derwin James, Justin Herbert. Like,
Yeah. He definitely built an impressive roster there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean,
it's not his fault that Staley was a imbecile.
I mean, absolute trash,
Staley
bro.
was
Like,
a
he had
joke.
everything in the arsenal to be. I mean, you had one of the league's best running backs in Eckler.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, like, bro, like,
you ran his legs off. He can't move no more.
man. And I mean,
Yeah.
I think it kind of came into a fact where he was just like, you know what, I'm done playing for this
Yeah.
team. So
I'm
he
done
just
sacrificing. Yeah.
So he's just like, forget it.
Yeah.
I
I think a lot
mean,
of
it's
guys
tough.
get that way sometimes.
Yeah. You see a team dying, and you're like, well, I'm not about to fucking lose my payday over this motherfucker.
Well,
you
I
know
think
what I'm saying?
Melvin Gordon was kind of the same way.
Yeah.
He played for Denver, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or no, he played for San Diego back when they were.
Yeah.
Or
That's where
he played for the
started,
Chargers,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of soured. He got a little bit older. He started having fumble issues, and his relationship with the organization kind of just soured. And they ended up shipping him to Denver or wherever, cutting him. So, I don't know the ownership there. I think it's kind of toxic, though. I think that's why they haven't had a lot of success. Yeah. I think they try to keep up with the league, but they just make rash decisions. But I think the Harbaugh acquisition is definitely a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
He's going to have them buttoned up. He just needs, and if he comes out next year and they don't do great, I mean, that's okay. You got good things take time in this league, man.
Yeah, watch for the scouts.
Yeah.
Right.
Watch out for the scouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this. So, since we've been talking about these West Coast teams, obviously one of the teams that, is turning into the ever so awesome New England Patriots is somebody's mic just changed. Murphs. Fix it, bitch. No, you're good.
It's on my Yeti. Don't worry about it.
I'm picking up your grandma hollering in the background. Wee, shoo-wee.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Side tangent. But I do want to know who you got in the Super Bowl. Me and Murph, we have decided that we cannot pick against Patrick Mahomes, although there is an argument here for the 49ers. I just seen too much in this game to where I think if you fall behind as the 49ers, you're not gonna get caught as Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Like if they jump out to an early lead, they're closing that fucking gap.
You saying the Niners are closing that gap or the Chiefs?
No, I'm saying if the Chiefs jump out to an early lead, this is one of them times where the 49ers do not catch up.
Okay, I can agree with that. So I'm saying the Chiefs, and the only reason is because this league is rigged.
My guy.
Like, bro, I promise you guys can go to all the ESPN, Kansas City Chiefs, NFL posts for the last week, and you will see my name under every single post.
I've seen him on the Facebook. Every time I see Blake's name under there, he's like, yeah, Mahomes sucks dick.
Oh no, it's just like I finally realized it during the Chiefs and the Buffalo game. Was it Tyler Bass is about to kick the game time field goal, and I mean, literally, the announcers are talking about how, the coaches are like, we could never trust anybody any more than Tyler Bass. He's 9 for 9. If we need to go ahead, then if we need to get a go ahead or a tie, we're gonna use Tyler Bass. Of course, why wouldn't he? And then it's wide right, and I'm like, this game is fucking rigged, bro.
I've been saying this shit's rigged for so fucking long, bro.
You have been. I know I've heard you say it in an episode for sure.
Dude, this league, ever since the gambling really kicked off, I think it was partially rigged before that.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's more like it's so blatantly obvious at this point.
You're telling me I hate the Chiefs. I hate Travis Kelce. I hate Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid's cool.
That's
I
me.
hate the little freaking crybaby prima donna.
LeBron.
I mean that too, but just like them two, bro. Like those two just are just like when things
I
don't
don't
go
know,
their
man. I
way,
think
bro. Baltimore rushed 11 times. 11.
Yeah,
okay,
it doesn't make sense to me, bro.
it doesn't make sense, and that's on Todd Monken. Like that's not on Kansas City. That's not Kansas City's fault that they
No, no, no,
fucking
no. The game
imploded.
is rigged. I'm not saying it's on
It's,
Kansas City. It's on the NFL and Roger Goodell, and they have to be the new Pony Boys.
I mean, I get the gambling aspect. Like, yeah, as they've started legalizing it more and more states, there's been a lot of questionable officiating, just to be, charitable. But I just hope against hope, man, that it's not, because I don't want to watch a league that's rigged. And
Yeah.
and maybe it's just the cognitive dissonance of it. Like
Yeah.
that's the one thing that like kind of gives me peace in this world. And I just, like I don't want to believe that it's rigged. Yeah.
Man,
But
look, man. You live in a better world than me, at least in a football
Yeah.
aspect, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Part of me's like,
you're
is
a
it the
Falcons fan, bro.
WWE?
okay, but listen. Okay, JD's a Philly fan. He's had it the best out of all three of us. Like
Oh, yeah.
he's at least he's won the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Like fuck.
Oh no,
It
I'm
was
saying
rigged
like,
for us one year. I'm blessed to have lived through the rigging.
So
Right,
okay,
right.
question.
Nick
Question.
Foles.
Question though. If the league is rigged, are you saying like so none of the Tom Brady, Super Bowls, none of those count? None of
If
those
it
are
was
like
all to be exposed, like if it would literally came out, I think there would be cities upon cities on fire. Like the people couldn't handle the fact if they figured it out. Like if it came out that the NFL has been rigged since its like start or whatever, they'd be like, everything I know is a lie. There would be like mass
yeah.
suicide among
You,
men. Like they could
Oh
never let it
yeah.
you
fall
guys,
out. You know what
I
I'm
mean
saying?
you guys want to hear
every
something?
yeah.
All
Let's
right,
hear
hey,
it.
so Murph, obviously my girlfriend is related to you.
Yeah.
Her mom actually tagged me in this post because I made a post about the NFL being rigged.
Yeah.
She's tagged me in this post where a guy sued the NFL for rigging games and he lost because it's an entertainment company.
Oh yeah, and that's how they get
I know
away
that.
with rigging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that whole thing where the NFL was bought by some type of enterprise or
Their
whatever. That's
partnership
Illuminati.
is with the WWE, but it's neither here nor there, unfortunately. Because
that's.
I mean, we can't
us,
control it
to
regardless.
the common man, it's like if we lose, as a fan, we just like fuck, it's rigged. If we win, thank God it's rigged for us. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
That's how I
yeah.
go about things moving forward.
Yeah, that's how I feel about
Like
the
at some
Braves winning
point,
the
the table
21 World
turned
Series.
for your team. Yeah, it's like at
Okay,
some
so
point,
definitely the Falcons Super Bowl against the Patriots was rigged, then,
rigged.
right?
Rigged.
Okay,
Look, we
okay,
can agree. We can agree.
yeah, I guess.
See, how's that make you feel?
Okay, definitely. I'm on board. Okay,
I mean,
Yeah.
you're
I'm
gonna
on
have to
board.
hear 28-3 jokes for the rest of your life, especially
For
with
the rest of my life,
Tom
dude.
Brady
I've
going
already
into the Fox
accepted it.
booth.
I don't even let it affect me anymore. I used to get, pissed, but now I'm just like, fuck it,
Hey man, look, I'm at least you made it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's true. But the Raiders were great back in the 70s,
Before
and
I was
80s.
even
So
fucking thought of.
okay,
Like,
yeah, that's. But at least y'all have some type of history. Atlanta has no history. But
mean, that's
our
true.
history starts with Michael Vick. You know, that's really where Atlanta ever becomes relevant in the NFL.
Lord. It's been so you're taking the Chiefs and you believe it's in a rigging. Let me ask you this then. If the Chiefs win it, is Travis Kelce proposing after the game? I've seen Canada's allowing that bet. They have odds on that.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
well,
plus 190 or something.
Huh.
That's crazy.
I mean, the NFL is rigged.
Imagine the numbers that they would get because you can't use any of their content as an NFL, unless you're connected to the NFL, you're the network with the NFL, or you're like Pat McAfee. So all of that would have to be bought out to clip out that Taylor Swift proposal. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
it's a lot of money, bro.
It's definitely a lot of money. That's why they're in the Super Bowl.
It's because of money. Yeah. And,
Money, and just like the
We're
money
so
that
open
she
to this
brings for
and we
Pat, like
and,
the views she brings.
well, we can talk about capitalism, but I don't know how long you guys fellas have tonight. So,
I got nothing
Lord.
planned, bro.
my question is, do they? Okay, so like the whole Taylor Swift thing has been going on since like week 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Do they have a camera crew following around, and are we going to get a documentary out of this?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
really
yeah,
what
yeah,
I want
no
to know.
doubt.
Like some type of like Hard Knocks behind the scenes type
Mhm.
Taylor and Kelsey edition.
I think if they get engaged and get married, I don't think it would happen before they get married because too many things can happen in between then. But I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
I mean,
I
come
think it'll
on,
be the
it needs to
next.
happen.
You know that movie that just came out with Taylor Swift about like her tour or whatever, and it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah. They're gonna have something like that.
Yeah, it'll be like that, and then they'll add in, it won't be football related. It'll be her perspective as the girlfriend,
As the football fan, yeah.
as the football fan, and following her, like her day in the life, like get ready with me type ass shit. You know what I'm saying? As I go to the Chiefs game,
Oh
and
my
then
goodness.
half of the Swifties are like, well, who's this guy?
Oh yeah.
I'm fucking sold. I don't give two fucks, truthfully.
No,
At this
I
point,
really
I mean,
don't.
I would watch it,
I wouldn't
Yeah,
watch
that's
it,
what I'm
but like
saying.
I wouldn't care. Like I
Yeah.
mean,
but I would not enjoy it.
I just wouldn't watch
like-
it. Like it's not up my
Yeah.
alley. I don't care about Travis Kelsey, and
Yeah.
like I don't like Taylor Swift's music, but I don't have any qualms. You know, like
Yeah.
she
Right,
doesn't
I'm not gonna
bother
be a
me.
hater.
Like she,
I've turned the tide on her being a good girlfriend, I think.
it was never about the fact if she was a good girlfriend for me. At least it was just like, like I don't really like her music, but I mean,
Yeah,
all
that's
she
what
is,
it
she's
is
just
for me. I think her music is dog shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean it does something. Like money
Yeah.
talks.
I mean, yeah, she's a billionaire off of
Right.
playing a guitar and singing about how her boyfriend's a piece of shit.
Mhm.
You know, I
And
wish I
want
was as
Travis
smart as
Kelce.
her.
Yeah, I want Travis Kelsey to be I hope what if somebody pays her to break up with him before the Super
No,
Bowl?
that ain't gonna happen.
But it could. It's a possibility.
I mean, there's a new $100 billion album right there. I dated a
Yeah.
football star, and he broke up
Yeah.
with me. All right, anyway, enough of Taylor Swift. Do you guys want to talk NBA? Do you want to talk MLB? Because I got about 10 more minutes, and then I might get off here.
Well, I wanted to take the last part of the time to kind of just do a check-in. How's everybody doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's important. I think we definitely, like a mental health check is definitely appropriate. I think especially for men of our generation because, kind of guys our age, we're taught to just suck it up, and fucking move on, be a man about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it helps definitely to talk to people that you trust and people that you love and people that love you. And I mean, yeah, it's the last couple weeks were kind of rough, but I'm getting my head back on my shoulders and I'm pressing on. Fighting on. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You doing all right though?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Blake, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. Like,
Yeah, you seem to be doing as good as ever, bro.
man, like
Yeah.
I'm in the best position I've ever been in my life, bro. Like, I mean, I'm in school with an actual vision. Like, I'm just enjoying life while not being so super busy.
Yeah.
And I mean, just enjoying what I'm doing, continuing to try to get better every day in everything that I'm doing. And then, I mean, I just have a girlfriend who's very supportive, very loving, very caring, which is probably
It's
the first
important,
time
man.
I've
That's-
ever
that's-
witnessed that in my life.
It's key.
Yeah.
It's key.
I mean, it makes
100%.
I mean, it just makes you better.
Yeah. I think it's a good addition, have somebody in your corner that's rooting for you, wanting the best for you.
I
Yeah.
agree. But man,
A lot of people don't know, like Blake said, a lot of people don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
They've never experienced that before. And so whenever you do find that, a lot of times people don't know how to react and they may push back, or something, or self-sabotage or whatever. But what makes it worth it is those people, even though that you might give that pushback, they they still want to pursue you, or they still want to pursue a relationship with you, and that shows that they really care.
Right.
And I think breaking down that wall is important, and being intimate with people.
Yeah. Murph, you've been in your relationship for a while.
Yeah.
Has there ever been like a time, like, do you ever like get afraid that you're like not doing enough just as a partner?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, being together, we've been together now going on 5 years. It'll be 5 years in August. And, we've got 2 kids together. We bought a house together. We have a whole life basically ahead of us, and, yeah, sometimes things do get stale, and sometimes you feel like you're being complacent, and, like, even like as a father, like there's a lot of times like it feels like you're not doing good enough, or you're not doing as good as you should be. And so I think that's something that a lot of men deal with, is like adequacy, being inadequate. Do you feel inadequate? And, yeah, but like being in a long-term relationship, like we bounce our feelings off each other, and we're open to each other, and we're able to talk through a lot of things. I think that is the most important thing, is just being open and communicating. And, if you come to a point where you can't agree or you can't accept something about someone, then that's when it's time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not your job to change anybody. It's like you can't change anyone. Like you can only love them and support them, but when it becomes a detriment to your own mental health, that's when you have to take a step back and say, I love you, but I can't deal with it right now,
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
And there's been several times where, we've talked about going on a break, and we have taken breaks before. I've gone and stayed at my parents' house before, but we work through it because we love each other, and I'm not trying to hog this segment of the conversation or anything, but I'm just trying to,
that's what we're here for,
my
bro.
perspective.
I was gonna say, I was the one that asked you the question. Like, I wanted your
Right.
opinion. Touch base on the, just the men's mental health. I think it's starting to get less of a stigma, like especially now in this era. But I still think like a lot of men are afraid to talk to their friends. Like, I mean, like I talk to JD every day. It's not a lot, but like, I mean, I know I'll probably tell him that I love him as much as I can. Like,
absolutely.
I think guys are afraid to talk to each other. Yeah. Like, and one thing that I've been getting more into my spiritual side here in the last probably about year and a half. But I think a lot of people forget that, like, before we are a man and a woman and everything, like, we are just human. Like, and like we all experience a lot of the same. Yeah, we all experience the same like emotions and doubts and fears and everything. And like talking through that with whoever, is very important. A lot of us lack, kind of like what we said earlier. Nobody is really, no one's used to people loving them and supporting them and caring for them like genuinely. And I mean, a lot of us, it starts with our parents, and I mean, it's where a lot of our traumas come from. But I think that's huge, is just being able to realize that, like, I've been trying to, like, see my grandparents as humans other than just my grandparents. And I've actually really enjoyed that here recently. Like, my grandmother on my mom's side just beat breast cancer. And, I've been trying to see her as a person other than just, like my Nana who has breast cancer.
Yeah. From an outside perspective, I get that.
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of, I think there's also too, we grew up in a weird time period where it's like now more so the generation behind us is more open and willing and like more so communicative, but the generation before us was more so hard-nosed and like keep it, just work through it. And we're like right in the middle, and sometimes I feel like we get lost in like, is this something I speak on about, or is it something, I work through? And there's it's like a pre-built thing, for our generation of men, which I think is like we're like the forgotten generation. You know what I'm saying? These 90s kids, we're forgotten about in a lot of the things because everybody's so worried about, the past 2000 babies. And then the old generation is, bitching about that same generation. And it's just like, we're lost in the mix, especially
Kind of
as
lost in
kids.
translation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think what kind of sets our generation apart, and like, because we're in the middle, is we were the last generation to know what it was like to grow up without smartphones, and we were the first generation to grow up with the internet.
Yep.
You know, and the technology has advanced so rapidly that it's like we are kind of like the oddball, because the older generation is too, like, they don't, you know, a lot of them don't give a fuck about learning how to utilize this new technology. And the younger generation is so engrossed in it and enthralled with it that we're kind of like, okay, you know, we're kind of just in the middle, like, but I don't know, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. But
on the best of, you know, both worlds. We're not stuck here and okay boomer in it, and we're not here saying screw these kids. You know what I'm saying? We're like right in the middle, capitalizing on both sides. But
I can't tell I'm getting older though, because I do get annoyed by, like, you know, teenagers.
And see, I'm around teenagers all the time with coaching and everything, and like, it's tedious sometimes, man. It definitely is. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my job, but
right. I referee junior pro basketball, so like I get, like, I deal with kids all the time, and I'm like, man, sometimes it's just like herding cats. It's like you tell them something and they just like right past them. Doesn't even go in their ear; it goes past them. You know, like
herding cats.
That's a countryside of Murph.
Herding cats. Come on, meow, meow. They're like,
yeah, they're just going nuts. So.
That's funny, bro. Lord. That's funny.
Well, it's good to hear that everybody's kind of piecing themselves together. Blake, I know you're doing good. I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you coming on here.
No problem.
Is at his timeout limit.
Yeah, so boys, just don't ever be afraid to reach out. I love you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know the drill. Is there anything that you would like to add? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to put on here before we get out of here, Blake?
Not really, man. Just really reach out to your friends. Reach out to the people that you love, man. Just live
Tell
life,
somebody
bro.
something nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we're all here trying to do something. We're all trying to be happy and live life, man. Look at people as people. Yeah. Don't look them as their appearances or outside. I'm going bald, man. That's not a lie, but like I'm not a bald man, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more than that. So like, look at people other than what their physical appearance is, and realize that a soul is a soul talking to each other.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. One love, all love.
Sir. Always, much
Tell
love.
Tell somebody you love somebody today, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you, Blake, coming on. This has been yet another episode of Real Conversations with Cozy and Murph. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your humans about us. With that said, we love you guys. Peace.
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 Yeah.